Well, welcome back to my tutorial. This is the third in the series of the tutorials on how to take professional photographs with your smartphone. In this one, we'll be covering how you can take more professional looking selfies. I know there's a lot of people who have said to me, how comes my selfies look absolutely rubbish? Well, we'll be covering how you can actually improve on that. I've got 6 tips for you from everything from orientation of your phone, how to use the buttons on your phone better, editing. Yes, we will be editing your selfies and making them look a lot better, and the best selfie stick or gimbal you should be using. So, without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Hi and welcome back to Professional Photography with your smartphone. My name's Dave Haslam and I'm going through a step of tutorials just to show you how you can take better and more professional photographs on your smartphone. If you've got this far, you may consider wanting to subscribe. It helps my channel grow, so just click on the buttons below and yeah, if you're new to this channel, if you don't mind doing that, that would help me greatly. What we're going to do now is I'm going to cover exactly what we're going to cover in this tutorial. The first thing is, I've got a little bit of a list here, so bear with me. I'm going to go through 6 steps. Now the first step is how to use the buttons on your phone. Now the first thing everybody ever does with their phone is use the little button, this little button here. What we are going to do is change that so that you don't use that button. What we want to make sure that you use, I always use the volume key on mine. So what I'm going to do is show you how you can change that. So here we are in a mobile phone. The first thing we need to do is make sure that the volume button is set up to be able to take photographs with. So if we go into the settings, move down to the area at the bottom where it says shooting methods, and click on that, and the top one should say press volume key to take picture or record. If that's not set, it could be set to something else like zoom or system volumes. Set it to take picture and record, and then you can actually not have to take the picture by touching the little button on your screen anymore. You can actually take it just by clicking on the volume button on the side. So that's the first step. So now you've done that, you'll be able to make sure that this button on the side of the phone is the button that you use now to take your photographs. So let's just get that in focus. Okay, now the reason for this is it means that your hands are now free and out of the way of your selfie. So you can actually now put your hands around the back of the phone to take your selfie. That brings us on to the second point. Sorry, just wait till it gets into focus again. The second point is most people you'll find will take the photograph and hold the phone up in that way, which is portrait mode. What you should be doing is holding it that way. Now you can see the value of actually using your volume key now for taking your selfies, because your hands are right out the way. I'm sorry if it's not in focus. So your hands are out the way, and you can then just go click, and there you go. There's your selfie taken. So that's tip number 2, is use your phone in landscape mode and not portrait mode. Tip number 3. When you're actually taking a selfie, most people will stand directly straight on looking at the camera. What you need to do is move to one side. As you can see from this little video clip that I did, if you're standing straight on, it's not as interesting as if you move to the side like I just did then. That also brings me on to another thing which is associated with this. Try standing at a slight angle. It usually gives a little bit of interest to the selfie as well. As you've probably noticed from the videos, as you are taking your selfie and using the front camera of your mobile phone, you will notice that you're actually looking at a mirror image of yourself. You need to take that into consideration when you're taking the photograph, because you will see when you're editing that everything will be orientated round the other way. And that's exactly what you see in this image here. And incidentally, this is the image we're going to be using for our editing, which we're going to get into now, which is tip number 5, editing. So we're going to start editing using this image. Right, so the editing software I'll be using is called Snapseed. Now you can download that from the Apple Store or Google Play or wherever you get your apps from. It's totally free. I think it's made by Google. It works on both Apple and Android phones. So I suggest you go across and get that. It's a pretty powerful piece of software. So that's what I'm going to be using for doing the editing. So here we are again in the mobile phone. I'm going to just click on the X in the center. I'm going to find my most recent images and on the camera roll. And that's the most recent one. So we're going to edit this in Snapseed. The first thing you've got on the right hand side is a few presets. Now you can actually just click on the presets and you'll see that it'll alter the images as you want. So we're not going to be using that. I'm going to just come out of that by pressing the X button on the right hand side and click the pencil button up into tune image, and that's what we're going to be using to start off with. Now as you can see on my phone it looks actually a lot better than it does on the screen, but the way this works is if you put your finger on the screen, obviously you can't see my finger, but if you put your finger on the screen and move up and down, you've got all the different aspects of altering your image. When you've picked which one you want, by literally just stopping on, say, saturation for argument's sake, you then move your finger from left to right and you will see the image will alter accordingly. So let's get a little bit of saturation in there. Let's go back to the brightness. It looks a bit too bright there, so let's take the brightness down slightly. A bit of saturation. We've already done that one. Contrast. Now, as you can see, I'm going to exaggerate it here. That's what the contrast does. So if you just, whoops, I've got a bit of a slow network there. Ambient light. Just play around with these until you get a really positive image. Shadows. So you bring out the shadows, or you can take the shadows away. As you can see, the shadow under my chin gets darker if I go to the left and brighter if I go to the right. So you can mess around with that. And the last one is, it's not the last one, the highlights there. Take the highlights down. On bright days, that's what you need to do. Show you the warmth. That you can make it very blue, or you can make it very orange. I don't think we need any of that, so I'm going to take that down to 0. I click on the tick on that one, and that's the altered image. If you hold your finger on the image itself, it shows you a difference to what you've actually done. So take your finger off and that will show you the edit. So on, that's the previous image. Off, that's the image that has been improved. I'm going to go back into the tools and go down to the bottom, and it's usually always good to put a bit of a vignette on it. So that's what a vignette is. It puts a bit of a circle around it. Now you can actually move that, say you want to put it into the middle of your face, keep your face bright and everything around you goes really dark, or just put a little bit of a tint around everything. If you use 2 fingers, you can actually make that circle bigger and smaller according to your like. Again, click on the tick and you're back into the image, and that's the improved image. What you then do is you want to click on the little arrow button in the bottom right hand side and export, and now your image is now saved. that's pretty much it for editing. So just to give you an idea of what the difference looks like, this is the image before I did some editing to it, and this is what it looks like after. So I hope you can see the difference, and it really does make a difference before you upload it, to do a bit of editing on your images as well. Now that brings us on to the final and sixth point of this video, and that is, if you really want to make a stable image and get a good clear image, get yourself a gimbal. Not a selfie stick, but a gimbal. Now I have to point out at this point that I am not being sponsored by any products, so what I'm showing you is only the product that I use, and I use this here, which is the CINEPEER C2. It's a great little gimbal. What it does is stabilizes all the images. You can actually do videos with it. It does images for videos and photographs, so you can take your selfies with it. It will do slow motion. It would even speed up your images as well, but I've never used it for anything other than doing videos, time lapses, stuff like that, and it is quite good. The software that comes with this is from a company called Zion, and Zion, I'm not too keen on their software, but it does work and it's quite good. So the easiest way to show you is how this thing works. It's as simple as getting this the right way around, getting your mobile phone and literally just sliding it into the gimbal, and it's that simple. Once you've slid it into the gimbal, there is a little screw, you can just see there, that screw. If you undo that screw, the first thing you will need to do is balance it. So you can slide it out slightly, and I will do that. Here we go. Get this lined up, and as you slide it out, you balance it so that it doesn't tilt anymore. That's a little bit not far enough, like that, and then just tighten it up. You'll also find that I've actually got it well balanced for a change straight away, but we will find sometimes that you will have a problem with it being spinning on its back or wanting to spin down. On the back of the gimbal where your phone is fitted, let's get it into focus, you can actually move this little bit here up and down until your phone is nice and balanced. Slightly off balance there, but it's close enough. And that is pretty much it. You can connect to the software in the gimbal using the software that comes with Zion. You just download that. That's free from the internet, basically. You turn it on, link it up using Bluetooth to the gimbal, and you can actually then just press the little red button there for taking photos or starting your videos recording. So that's the CINEPEER C2. As I say, I'm not being sponsored by Zion or CINEPEER, so I'm just telling you what I use. But I have, if you want one of these, a link in my description, so you can go down to the link in the description. I don't make any money from that, so it's just a case of if you want to get a nice, cheap, good gimbal system, that's where you need to go. There's only one thing for me left to say is, if you did enjoy this video and it was helpful to you, please, wherever it is, I think it's that side, or wherever it is, if you can click on the subscribe button, it helps me build this channel. Thank you very much, and look out for part 4.